And we are live. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience and have been continuously competing for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. Let's make it 7 in 2020. But enough of me. I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FB Show, we are going to continue our Week 3 game recaps, breaking down every single Week 3 matchup, all through the lens of fantasy football. Up next, the Houston Texans taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you are excited for this game recap, be sure to hit that like button down below like an open receiver downfield. Also, smash that subscribe button like a power running back up the middle so you never miss a video from me. Last but not least, you can follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. Let's dive right in with our Texans and Steelers fantasy football game recap, shall we? So, the Steelers defeat the Texans and improve to 3-0, dropping the Texans to 0-3 by a final score of 28-21. Deshaun Watson did what I expected him to, and that was he was going to provide you a safe fantasy floor. He wasn't going to hurt you, and he wasn't going to overly dominate for you either against this very, very great Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Watson finished with 19 completions on 27 pass attempts, 264 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including an interception as well. David Johnson, the floor is there. 13 carries, 13 carries, two receptions for 46 total yards. It was not pretty, but he did find his way into the end zone, and he was able to give you 11.5 fantasy points in this matchup. Randall Cobb, 4 targets, 4 receptions, 95 yards, and a touchdown, and Will Fuller also saw 5 targets, hauled in for them for 54 yards and a score. The Houston Texans are 0-3, though, for the second time in 3 years. I know that's a little bit of a lame note, but honestly, there was nothing really intriguing about anything that the Texans did in this game. Moving over to the Steelers now, Big Ben Roethlisberger, 23 completions on 36 pass attempts, 237 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Big Ben gave you another solid fantasy game in this matchup. James Conner. When James Conner is active, you fucking play him. I've been saying this for weeks. James, and honestly, all off season long as well. James Conner, 18 carries, 109 rushing yards, 4 receptions for an additional 40 yards, and a score. James Conner was magnificent in this game. Also, JuJu Smith-Schuster, still, he's back, baby. Another game with a touchdown, 4 receptions for 43 yards. JuJu looked pretty good in this game. I would have loved to see the target volume increase just a little bit more because Diontae Johnson did leave this game with a possible concussion. He did not return. So let's talk about this game and all the fantasy implications and things that happened, right? So here's one thing that I know for sure. Deshaun Watson is always going to give you a safe fantasy floor. I was talking about this in the game preview. Watson, this season at least, he's never going to hurt you, and he's never going to hurt you, but I do think he has a hard cap ceiling based upon his weapons in this offense, admittedly, but you're going to get a consistent 18 fantasy points from him at least every single week. So Watson is still going to be a fine start for you every single week. You drafted him to be that, so please keep playing him because the numbers are going to stay that way. David Johnson, very, very similar. Just getting 13 attempts. Last week, I think he had 11, so he's still seeing double-digit carries every week despite the game script. Getting work out of the passing game as well and finding his way into the end zone. They are very, very comfortable handing him the ball inside of the 5. But one of the biggest stories for me in this game, and it really did solidify it, it's the Texans pass catchers. There is no number one option on this team. Would it be Will Fuller? Would it be Brandin Cooks? Could it be Randall Cobb? The answer is very, very similar to what you're doing in, who did I say you were doing this to? It's very similar to what you're doing with the Chiefs outside of Tyreek, where you're spinning the wheel of wide receivers and you're hoping that it lands on your player for the week. So Randall Cobb, 4 targets. Will Fuller, 5 targets. Kenny Stills, 4 targets. Brandin Cooks, 5 targets. None of them outside of Randall Cobb had above 55 receiving yards. Just to go through the list for that. 95 for Cobb, 54 for Fuller, 35 for Stills, 23 for Cooks. It's luckily, Fuller grabbed a touchdown as well, so that boosted his output for the day, and Randall Cobb did as well. But again, I don't know I know the team I was thinking of initially. I was thinking of the Giants with Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate, and Darius Slayton. You're spinning that wheel and you're hoping that it lands on your player for the week. I'll say it. I dropped Will Fuller after the goose egg in week 2, and the reason why I did it is simply I don't want to play this game. This is not a game that I have any interest in playing. It's not a game that I'm going to have fun playing. I don't want to spin the wheel every single week and try and get lucky, knowing I have more stable, consistent options. Deshaun Watson is going to be productive, like I said, every single week, but the fact of the matter is I have no way of predicting who the ball is actually going to go to. And with that being said, I'm going to try and get people to start to stay away. If you have Will Fuller, I try and sell high because you have 2 out of 3 weeks where he's been really, really productive. Obviously, he does come with a lot of injury risk as well. Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb is going to be a guy that I think a lot of people are going to look to pick up. I would not. Again, I'm not spinning this wheel. And Brandin Cooks, I would try and get rid of as well. You probably have to sell low, all things considered. But still, just getting away from this nightmare of a situation just to find a more consistent option. Like, I think you could probably flip Brandin Cooks for Jarvis Landry, and Jarvis Landry is going to give you a safer floor every week than what Brandin Cooks is going to do in Houston. Moving over to the Steelers now, Big Ben is still just absolute gunslinging. I love it. It makes me so happy because I was a Big Ben believer coming back. So just to go through the passing yardage for the passing yardage for the first 3 weeks: 229, 311, 237, touchdowns 322. It's looking real nice for Big Ben. He's playing really well to start the season, and that makes me really happy as somebody who owns JuJu Smith-Schuster in Dynasty. More on him in just a little bit. James Conner, like I said, when he is on the field, you absolutely play him. No ifs, ands, or buts. He's a guy that he's going to get the work when he's healthy, and he's also just really productive when he is on the field and getting the work. There's no reason to shy away from him whatsoever. Let's go over to JuJu now. Again, I would have liked to see the targets increase, admittedly. Only 5, especially in a game where it was a bit back and forth during the early parts of this game. And Diontae Johnson left pretty early with that head injury. And just seeing JuJu only get 5 targets, I thought was a little bit weird. I was actually joking with somebody earlier today, and I was like, "Where is JuJu? I need to get the milk carton out." And the very next play, he scored his 11-yard touchdown or whatever it was. So I was like, that was a great moment for me throughout the course of the week. But JuJu's back. Like I think that's the big thing, right? At the end of the day, JuJu Smith-Schuster is back. 21 points in week 1. 8 in week 2, and 14 in week 3. He's going to get the targets. He's going to play out of the slot where he's comfortable. He's going to get into the end zone. The Steelers' offense is going to move the ball. I'm so excited that JuJu Smith-Schuster is back as a top 20 wide receiver in the NFL. Where is he at actually right now? He's currently listed as 15 in PPR. I don't know if that updated for this week or not. I guess I'll find out in just a little bit. Chase Claypool. Another game with 4 targets. Again, one of the things I was saying with him was I wanted to see the target volume increase more and more. So him seeing 4 targets compared to 3 last week is a good sign. James Washington had 7 targets in this game, actually, only hauled in 5 for 37 yards. He didn't do anything spectacular. But it is just one of those things where Big Ben has the weapons, all things considered, to continuously put up 250 passing yards and two touchdowns every single week. Eric Ebron also got him with the score as well. I think that's going to do it. There's not a whole lot to note here. I didn't think anything was groundbreaking or game-changing for fantasy, other than the fact I'm now just trying to stay away from Houston Texans wide receivers at all costs because I don't want to spin the wheel. I don't want to spin the wheel. You can't make me spin the wheel. I'm just not excited about trying to figure out who is who every single week. That's going to do it. I think this was actually one of the shorter previews, or one of the shorter recaps I've done. Again, this matchup I felt like was pretty cut and dry, all things considered. I wasn't expecting a whole lot of game-breaking analysis after the fact. The game went how I expected it to. Again, the Steelers won 28-21 and improved to 3-0 on the season. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. I'm trying to do this for every single week 3 game, so you want to stick around for that. You can also follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. Remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever, and I will see you in the next video.